In this presentation, we'll look at Profit Center master data. Let's look at this diagram to have a better understanding of what is a profit center. For example, if you are running an automotive company, you might have different business areas. Now here I have put one business area called vehicles, another business area called spare parts. So this way you manufacture all your vehicles, and this is the business area where you sell your spare parts for the vehicles. Now we have different type of vehicles available. You have cars, you have bikes, you have vans, and you have trucks. Now each of these you can create them as a profit center. Then you can analyze how much profit you are making in your cars division. Then you can see how much profit you are making in your bikes division, and vans division, and trucks division. So this type of different business lines, you can create them as profit centers. Then in SAP you also have another reporting factor called segments. Now business areas and segments are all done in the background configuration. However, profit centers, we usually go and create them as a master data. Hence it's very much useful to know about profit centers for end users, super users, and business analysts. Now segments can group a few profit centers. For example, cars and bikes, you can call them as light vehicle segments. And vans and trucks, you can call them as heavy vehicle segments. So this is the interrelationship between business areas, profit centers, and segments. You do not have to know how they have been configured. That's all configured at the back end. However, we do create profit centers whenever we come out with a new business line. Profit centers are mainly used for management reporting. Just like the word profit, it means revenue minus expenses, or revenue minus costs is your profit. So that's why it's called a profit center. Primarily profit center used for based on your P&L statement accounts. But now if you implement the new GL accounting, which most of the companies have implemented when they implement SAP, then they can also get a balance sheet by this profit center. Every profit center in the system is assigned to something called a controlling area. Usually in an organization you will have something called one controlling area, and you will be given the controlling area number. It's a 4-character ID. And you can see, by just like how you run your company code reports, you can run your profit center reports, and you can see the amounts coming via your GL accounts. Profit centers can be defined at product level, just like I mentioned earlier in my presentation, like bikes, cars, vans, trucks. Profit centers can also be done at regional level. For example, sometimes you can even say one region is your profit center. Most of the time profit center is usually done at product level, and it can also be done at function level, and so on. Different ways that you can define your profit centers, and your organization structure will have a way of how they would want to structure their profit centers. The profit center master data is time dependent, which means there is a validity date. Most of the management accounting objects like profit centers, cost centers, internal orders, and cost elements, these all have a time dependent fields, because usually you might have different people responsible for them coming and going. So hence you can analyze the data based on the person responsible, how long they've been in the business for, how long they've been managing this profit center for. So you can have different time dependent fields for your profit centers and your other management accounting objects. We will look at this in more detail when we create the profit center. Now by default, when you create the profit center, this profit center can be used by all the company codes in your controlling area. However, you can go and select which company codes should use which profit center as well. There is also a dummy profit center created in the system. Just in case sometimes some accounts are not assigned to a profit center, it will go to the dummy profit center, and then later you can assign from the dummy profit center to your rest of the correct profit centers. Now let's look at creating a profit center in the system. You come to your SAP menu path, go to Accounting, Controlling, Profit Center Accounting, Master Data, and there are actually two ways how you can create the profit center. Let's look at one of the first way, that is via the standard hierarchy. The standard hierarchy will map your organizational structure by the product lines, or how you would want to create your profit centers. The standard hierarchy would have been mapped for your organization. Let's look at the standard hierarchy set up in the system for now. KCH1 is a transaction code to create this standard hierarchy would already been created for you by the departments, and now all you have to do is to go to KCH5N to change the standard hierarchy, and in the hierarchy you can add in your nodes which are like your profit centers. Let's have a look at this to see an example. Execute the transaction KCH5N by double clicking on it, and that will bring you to this screen over here. Let me minimize this bar over here to see the standard hierarchy. So you can see there's a hierarchy, there's a node, top node called H1, that is the main hierarchy node. Then there's some different levels of profit centers are given. You can create your own nodes as well. Usually this will be done by your organization department, so you don't have to worry about creating the standard hierarchy nodes. However, let's look at creating a profit center in one of these nodes, and you will be informed where to create this profit center node. If you do want to know how to create standard hierarchy, it's very simple. Just click on one of these icons and then you can put it up over here, or you can just double click on one of these icons over here and just select create group, that is a group at the same level or one level lower. I'm just going to put it at the same level, and you can give it a group name over here. I'm just going to call it test over here. I'll say test group for now, and just press enter. This is just a grouping of the profit centers, and you can specify which profit center you want to create underneath these nodes. Then just close this, and you can start creating the profit center underneath this node. Now just right click on this node, and this time I'm not going to create any groups. I'm actually going to create a profit center, so I'll select create profit center option, and then that will bring up your small menu. Here it is coming, and you can give a profit center ID. I'm just going to call it A100 just for now, and this is where the analysis period will come in place. You can specify till which period this profit center is valid from, whether from 2016 to 2020 or 2017, or till all the way till the end of the periods. You can even create a different analysis period as well. For example, you define this from 2016 to 2020, and later another person responsible might be taking over this profit center. Then you can just put a different analysis period by putting from 2020 to a different period as well. So name, I'm just going to call this profit center cars, and here you can specify a person responsible. Just going to give it a name over here, and then you can even give it a segment if it belongs to some segments like I mentioned earlier, whether it's light vehicles or heavy vehicles and so on. You can even give a department ID, the user ID of the person who's responsible. So John Adams user ID also you can give. All this information you can give in this basic data tab. Next, let's move on to the indicators field over here, and here you can specify whether you want to block this profit center from any postings. Then you just have to click on this indicator. I'm just going to untick that. Go on to the company codes tab over here, and here you can see by default all the company codes will be assigned. Now you can select which company codes will be using this profit center. It would be given by your corporate finance team. For example, I can just untick some of these profit centers, these company codes, saying that these company codes will not be using these profit centers. Let me just untick a few. Like this, you can go and untick which are the company codes which do not belong to your profit center. Next, you have the address section, where you can give the address details of this profit center. Where does this cast section belong? Where is the address of this place? The country, the street details, all this information you can specify in the address tabs. Communication tab, you can specify the communication details of this particular profit center. Telephone numbers, fax details, all of this. And then you can save the transaction. Now merely saving alone will not actually create the profit center. It will only save the information which you have specified in the profit center. If I just minimize this tab over here, you can see I have created this profit center A100 called cars. Person responsible is John Adams. However, you can see the activation status is in red. You need to get this red status into green to activate the profit center. There's a special thing in profit center. Just by saving alone will not make it active. You have to activate it by clicking on this, selecting the profit center, and this icon which looks like a matchstick, when you just go into it, it says activate. Select that, and then this will be activated. It's asking which ones to activate. I'm only going to activate the one I selected. Press OK to continue, and that will activate the profit center. And you get a message saying check successfully carried out, and you can see the red icon has turned into a green icon, which means now the profit center has been activated. So like this, you can create your own groups and you can create your profit center in the standard hierarchy. Now let's look at another method of how we can create the profit center using the normal master data section. Because sometimes you will not be given access to this standard hierarchy transaction codes, hence we might have to go and do it in another way. Let's quickly also display the standard hierarchy by clicking on KCH6N, where we cannot do any changes, but however we can view the information because it's in display mode. And you can just go back to the original screen. Now I'm just going to minimize the standard hierarchy node over here. Go to profit center accounting, master data, profit center over here, individual processing. KE51 is the transaction code to create the profit center in a normal screen mode without the standard hierarchy. If you do get a pop-up menu asking you to enter the controlling area, put the controlling area as 1000. Now put a profit center ID. I'm just going to put it as A200. Press enter to continue. And here I'm going to call this profit center. I'm not going to change any analysis period, just leave that as it is. Bikes. Put this also as bikes. Person responsible, I'm just going to mention as Jill Thomas. Now profit center group. We did not get this profit center group when we created via the standard hierarchy mode, because in the standard hierarchy mode itself we just created right under the test group. So that's what this is asking. In the standard hierarchy, under which group is this should be under. So I'm just going to call this group the test group, which I just created already, or you can even search for the groups available in the system. And if I just scroll down, I should be able to see the test group. Here it is, the one I created. You can just select that, and that's the group you're going to create this profit center under. Again, rest of the tabs are the same. Indicators, company codes, you can specify which company codes will be using this profit center. I'm just going to untick a few. You can untick more also if you want. Let's go on to the other tabs. Address, communication, you can put in necessary information you want, and then click on this icon directly to activate. You can save and then go back to change mode and activate as well, but one shot itself you can activate it by clicking on this icon, activate, and you can see now profit center A200 has been created. Now the profit center has been created and activated as well. And you can go back to the main screen. And you can change the profit center also by using the transaction code KE52. Let me execute that. Put in the profit center and just press enter in your keyboard. You can make necessary changes over here and save the transaction. Now if you look at the validity period, you can just click on analysis period. You can see analysis period is from 1/1/2016, and let's say you want to change it, you can just change the dates over here. And if you look at the history, you get the information of when it was created, who it was created by. All the changes made to this profit center can be tracked by change documents for the master data tab over here. And you can go back to the main screen. Now remember, your controlling area is 1000. If you get a message saying you're in the wrong controlling area or this profit center does not exist in this controlling area, always make sure that you are set up in the correct controlling area. You can do that by going to extras over here, set controlling area, and just type in your controlling area 1000 and just click on save over here. That will ensure that your controlling area 1000 has been set up for your user ID. You can also display the profit center by going into KE53 transaction code, key in your profit center, press enter, and you can see all the displayed information. Okay, always go back to the main screen. You also have the option to delete the profit center by going into transaction code KE54. It is highly recommended that you do not delete the profit centers because they must have some other assignments to different cost objects. So unless you have accidentally just created one profit center recently and you want to immediately delete only, use this transaction KE54. Execute the transaction over here, specify a profit center, press enter to continue, and then you can just click on this icon which says mark for deletion, and then this profit center will be set for deletion. And you can see you're getting a message saying inactive, delete. However, if you do want to activate it again, just go on to this icon, activate, and the profit center will be activated. Just getting message saying, do you want to delete the profit center? If you click on that, it'll actually delete this profit center, but I don't want to delete that, so I'll press no. But if you want to actually delete this, then you just have to click on this icon and save the transaction and go back to the main screen. It's important that you understand the concept of the profit center. The profit center is a very important object in SAP Finance. It's usually done to get a P&L statement of a business line. Now practice creating a profit center using the standard hierarchy transaction code KCH5N. Also practice creating a profit center using the KE51 transaction code as well. You can also create profit center groups in your standard hierarchy transactions. Also change and display the profit center, and just understand the important fields that are required in creating a profit center.